Mankind is truly unique as a miracle in an unforgiving universe. Where there was darkness, light appeared. When it was night, humanity harnessed fire to create the light. Resilience and strength is truly what has kept mankind around for so long, as when something threatens its way of life, humanity finds the way to adapt, and those who do not find a way to adapt are lost forever. So it's within our best interest to keep what makes us human, our culture, our feelings, our compassion. Something I find interesting when looking at different cultures across the world is the sense of humor. Humanity has a sort of connection when it comes to that. There's usually at least one person that can make all of us laugh. Funny enough, the story we're exploring today shows that humanity's sense of humor doesn't just span across cultures, but also time. Today, we're going back thousands of years to ancient Babylon, where in roughly 1500 BCE, the first Yo Mama joke was written, and stranger still, was found and lost again. This is the case of the world's oldest Yo Mama joke. Ancient Mesopotamia is one of humanity's most noticeable accomplishments when it comes to a post-Neolithic revolution society. Founded in 2300 BC, Babylon was initially created prior to the founding of the Babylonian Empire, which would soon be created in 1894 BCE by King Hammurabi, the guy who made Hammurabi's Code. The Babylonian Empire would last a good long while, even undergoing different generations and dynasties of the Babylonian Empire, until Babylon fell in 539 BCE at the hands of the Achaemenid Empire. For the sake of an uncomplicated video, whenever I mention the Babylonian Empire, I will be referring to the first Babylonian Empire that was established from 1894 BCE to 1595 BCE. I am aware that Babylon the city didn't fall until the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Funny stuff, huh? Babylon rests in modern-day Iraq, although much of it has been destroyed, whether it be from the elements, scavengers, or war. Babylonians were quite keen on keeping records of their daily lives, as many artifacts recovered from the ancient kingdom are tablets which detail how these people would live. Things like receipts, letters, and so on have been found on each of these tablets, giving us an insight to how these people would record their lives. Heck, that's how we know about Hammurabi's Code. It was sealed in stone. Or rather clay, since that's what these tabs were made of. Ancient Babylon had a patriarchal government system, and their society was actually pretty normal to the modern-day man, minus the slavery, class divide, the middle class not really owning land, debt leading people to sell themselves into slavery, and so on. So, for those who are pretty familiar to how society sprouts up, food is one of the biggest factors that decide how the society is built. If you own all the food, congratulations, you may be entitled to leading your brand new civilization. In Babylon, much of the farmland, although worked by slaves, was owned by higher society people, the upper class. The lower class individuals would work these lands or do their own thing as a means of contributing to the ancient society. Children born in Babylon were contributing as well, as they would not only attend their schools as a means of furthering their education, but also help their parents with whatever needed doing. Now, a big part of education in the Babylonian Empire was teaching students to write. Scribes were basically the individuals of the society who would record whatever people needed to keep records of. Scribal training was offered at all sorts of schools, and boy, were the Babylonians into this. Thousands of ancient tablets have been found dating back to the Babylonian Empire, so you know that tons of records were made during this time. Heck, even the oldest customer complaint recorded comes from ancient Babylon, the complaint tablet to Ea-Nizir, found in the Sumerian city of Ur. However, one Babylonian tablet found in 1976 displays that despite how different society has become, especially in that region of the world, humanity still hasn't lost its sense of humor. Although the tablet's exact date is unknown, many sources say that the tablet may date back to 1500 BCE, 1900 BCE, and even 2100 BCE. Archaeologist J.J. von Dijk, I hope I'm pronouncing that right because that's how I will continue to do so, was on an expedition in modern-day Iraq when he would excavate an Akkadian tablet, Akkadian now being the extinct language known in ancient Mesopotamia. The tablet was a list of riddles or jokes written by an unknown author. Von Dijk and his colleagues would make a copy of what was inscribed, and thus the content of what was written was preserved to the best of their ability. Michael Streck of the Ancient Oriental Institute at the University of Leipzig and Nathan Wasserman of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem took the time to translate what was written on the tablet. Now, admittedly, some of these aren't all that funny, but I imagine that they were designed to be just riddles just to get the ball rolling in your head. Here's one. The tower is high. It is high, but nonetheless has no shade. What is it? And the answer is, drumroll please, sunlight. So yeah, translation doesn't give it the best setup. I imagine to us, it's supposed to be something like, what is the tower so high it casts no shadow, or something like that. You know, something you'd see on a popsicle stick. Here's another. Like fish in a pond, like troops before the king, what is it? A broken bow. Allow me to explain this one. Fish don't do much. When a soldier is stationed near the king, it simply means that the soldier is on a defensive stance, just sort of waiting until someone tries to do something bad. The broken bow answer relates to the fact that if your bow is broken, congratulations, you're useless in a position of hunting and warfare. Big shout out to livescience.com for explaining that one. I won't even lie, this riddle actually stumped me. But I'm not from ancient Mesopotamia. But further down the tablet, the riddle starts to turn into jokes. The next one is a pretty good example. In your mouth and your urine, constantly stared at you, the measuring vessel of your lord. What is it? Beer. I imagine the scribe who wrote this down was probably like reading this off to a group of their friends, and they all just kind of snorted at this one. Let's see here. The deflowered girl did not become pregnant. The undeflowered girl became pregnant. What is it? Auxiliary forces. Gonna have to tell this one at work. Unfortunately, however, the tablet wasn't in the best condition, so not all of it could be recorded and translated, which brings us to our topic of the day. All we have left of the joke is half of the setup, which reads, of your mother is by the one who has intercourse with her. What or who is it? And unfortunately, our punchline has vanished, as well as the beginning of the joke, but hey, the punchline is the best part. On the bright side, though, the oldest known fart joke was on this tablet too, and has been preserved in its entirety. This one reads, something which has not occurred since time immemorial, a young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. This sounds like something Skips would read to Mordecai and Rigby. Something I wonder is if this tablet is directly made for someone rather than just being a generalization for something. Like throughout this tablet, the specific person is reading it and then it gets to your mom joke. Like I wonder if it was ever directed towards someone or if it was just a little generalized joke for everyone. Anyways, upon finding the tablet in 1976, Von Dijk handed the tablet over to the Iraq Museum in Baghdad after making copies of what was inscribed. The museum would go on to display the tablet until its unfortunate disappearance. 1976 was more than 40 years ago, and across those 40 years, a lot has changed in Iraq. The general consensus is that the tablet was stolen from the Iraq Museum sometime during the 2003 invasion of Iraq. During 2003, the Iraq War was begun by the United States as an effort to overthrow the then government of Iraq led by Saddam Hussein and disarm weapons of mass destruction, as a part of the US's War on Terror, which was brought about after the September 11th attacks. Many archaeologists and preservationists had actually pleaded that the Iraq Museum be left alone during the war because, as you know, a lot of very important historical relics were housed inside the museum. Unfortunately, on April 10, 2003, looting on the museum would begin and last until the 16th, when US forces would make their way to the building, practically scaring away all the looters. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation was sent to track down a lot of stolen items, and although not every piece has been relocated, almost 40,000 manuscripts and 700 artifacts have been recovered by the end of spring 2003, a very swift recovery. But that's not all, because archaeological excavation sites were also looted and destroyed during the war, so all of those plus what's still missing from the Iraq Museum, and we have literally thousands of items, and among those items, the most important joke in all of human history. Funny enough, the museum's website basically says that the thieves had basically no idea what they were stealing, as they, quote, did not discriminate when stealing the items. Their website actually says that a whole shelf of fake artifacts had been stolen, while one adjacent to that shelf was full of real priceless ones, and it was just fine. The museum would open a few times since 2003, although it was permanently reopened to the public in February of 2015. So I think it's worth debating whatever happened to that tablet. There's been quite a lot of debate about where this tablet may be now, As the museum's website suggests, the thieves who stole it may not know of the tablet's significance, and most likely weren't translators to understand it. The tablet could be just with any random looter, a specific group of looters, or disposed of. Let's explore each option. Just a random looter is a likely option here, as someone could have just wanted something valuable from a museum and took it. Seeing an ancient cuneiform tablet and deciding that you want to take it is pretty reasonable. Although, to play devil's advocate here, if you were in a museum, would you steal the head of a dinosaur or the toe of a dinosaur? It's always possible that a thief in the museum might have set their eyes on something more valuable, at least to them. Say things like a statue or a sculpture, something that you can really spark your house with, as opposed to a little clay tablet. Like, where would you put that? You can't really display it, because what if you have guests? Someone's gonna ask what it says, and you don't know because you can't speak ancient Akkadian. Then what? You hold on to it, you pawn it, you throw it away. Well, if it gets pawned, it depends on the buyer. If you throw it away, it's gone. Holding on to it, who knows? The idea of a specific group of looters is more likely, although the worser option, and let me explain why. If there's a group of individuals who plan to loot a building, they usually have an objective, and it's not very likely that the objective is to make their headquarters look cooler. The likely intentions of the groups that could have looted are usually either selling for money or destruction, and as I said before, the selling route usually depends on the buyer, unless you're just buying from the black market, in that case, still, what are you gonna do? Display it in your shadow museum? I mentioned destruction because at the time, terrorist organizations were quite apparent in the Middle East, with groups targeting various historical sites and destroying them. This practice has not stopped by any means, with groups like ISIS still doing that kind of stuff to this day. If a specific group looted the artifact, it's likely gone, as opposed to a regular person who might have just passed it down to a kin, sold it, or held onto it for an increased value. With the destruction route, we know it was destroyed with an actual reason or initiative. Believe me, I don't want that to be the case, but given the time it disappeared and the circumstances surrounding its disappearance, I feel like these might be the only two explanations to its whereabouts, and unfortunately still, all these routes led us directly to the destruction of the artifact, with the tablet being lost forever. The oldest estimation of the age on the tablet is believed to be 2100 BCE, which means that upon its discovery in 1976, the tablet had been sitting for over 4,000 years. This makes it a bit hard to preserve, especially in the hands of someone who knows nothing about how fragile and important this thing is. Imagine if someone dropped it, it'd be game over for this tablet. That's why it's important that if it, or any copies from its time, still exist, it's imperative that we recover these tablets as soon as possible. Otherwise, this priceless artifact that once held humanity's oldest recorded joke is lost to the sands of time. Although the tablet itself may be gone, we're lucky enough to have the copies and translations of what was once on it, and although the Yo Mama joke itself is lost to the ages, we're lucky still to have known it existed. I like to keep a tone of hopeful optimism when making these videos, so allow me to share that with you all. Babylonians loved to keep records, and if my theory of the joke being shared is true, then maybe by some sort of miracle, another scribe made a copy of the joke and it's waiting to be found. Hopefully, we will be able to understand what the Babylonians were making fun of, and hopefully we won't have to ask your mother, because Yo Mama's so stupid, she studied for a blood test and failed. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I know I uploaded this on April Fool's, but I just want to clarify, all this information is real, and I tried to get this as accurate to the best of my ability. I've got some more historical content coming down the pipeline as well, and some lost media stuff coming, so stick around for that. If you guys liked the video, be sure to comment your favorite Yo Mama joke below and leave a like. If you're interested in more of my videos, consider subscribing. It's free, and you can click that bell icon to be notified of the next upload. Big thanks to the channel members, Benji079 and Hiyu Biohazard1493 for the membership support, as well as channel member Zephro, who actually signed up for membership while I was editing, which goes to show I should probably edit this section at the very end, like, hey, I'm about to release this video, I should record this part last, and you know, whatever. As always, guys, it's been a blast, and I will see you all next time. Peace. Also, if you want to get channel memberships, it's only like $1 a month. Please, guys, it'd be really fun. I can put your name at the end of the video. Okay, cool. Bye.